Just in, federal government slams 9 new grounds at Supreme Court, frustrates Nnamdi Kanu's release. You're welcome to the news, and thank you for tuning in to today's news. But don't forget that you can subscribe to this channel by clicking on the subscribe button and also the bell for more updates. Now to the news details. Please listen carefully. The Supreme Court has granted leave to the federal government to bring 9 new grounds of appeal against the release of pro-Biafra agitator Nnamdi Kanu. A 5-member panel led by Justice John Okoro granted the leave on Thursday, while ruling on the motion by the counsel to the federal government, Mr. Tijani Ghazali. The Apex Court also granted leave to the federal government to include those 9 new grounds as part of its amended notice of appeal, dated 28 October 2022. At the resumed hearing, counsel to Nnamdi Kanu, Mike Ezekome, informed the court of his motions seeking for bail of his client and another seeking for his transfer to get the Kuje Correctional Facility to get proper medical attention, citing his failing health at the custody of the Department of State Services, DSS. He also prayed for an accelerated hearing of the matter. Speaking on the motion for the transfer of Kanu out of the custody of the DSS, the federal government's counsel prayed for an adjournment to file a counter affidavit stating that he just took over the matter, as it seems likely that hearing the motion, particularly that seeking the transfer of Nnamdi Kanu, may likely delay the hearing of the main suit. The court advised Ezekome to withdraw the pending motions and enable him to focus on the main appeal. The court subsequently fixed May 11 for a hearing on the pending motion and the main appeal. Recall that the appeal court had on October 13, 2022, cleared Kanu of alleged treason and terrorism charges against him, after dismissing the remaining 6 counts leveled against him by the federal government. The appeal court panel foretell the process of extraditing him back to Nigeria from Kenya on grounds of it being in breach of international protocol. Another panel of the same courts, however, on the 28th of October 2022, reversed its earlier decision, ordering a stay of execution pending a hearing and determination of the appeal of the Supreme Court. Today, in which Nnamdi Kanu was tried in the Supreme Court, the federal government brought in 9 fresh grounds to oppose Nnamdi Kanu's release. The federal government do not want to release him, despite the fact that the courts had acquitted him. And the court said he was free from the 6-count charges. But now, the federal government has brought another 9 new grounds concerning Nnamdi Kanu. Recall that in 2022, the court has ordered Kanu's release from detention. In an unanimous decision by a 3-member panel, the appellate court equally quashed a 15-count terrorism charge that the federal government entered against the detained IPOB leader before the Federal High Court in Abuja. The court said it was satisfied that federal government flagrantly violated all known laws when it forcefully rendered Kanu from Kenya to the country for the continuation of his trial. It held that such arbitrary use of power by the Nigerian government divested the trial court of the jurisdiction to continue with Kanu's trial. However, dissatisfied with the judgments, the federal government took the matter before the Supreme Court. It further persuaded the appellate court to suspend the execution of the judgments pending the determination of its appeal. Meanwhile, at the resumed proceedings today, Kanu's legal team, led by Chief Mike Ozekome San and Mr. Ifeanyi Ejiofor, drew the attention of the apex courts to an application seeking the release of their clients on bail, pending the conclusion of the hearing of the appeal. Ozekome said there was a need to also transfer his client from the custody of the DSS to where he could get proper medical attention in view of his deteriorating health. He therefore applied for an accelerated hearing of all the pending applications, as well as the substantive appeal. Kanu had earlier asked the apex court to strike out federal government's appeal against his release, as well as an order setting down his own cross appeal for hearing. The IPOB leader contended that going by Section 6, subsection 1 of the Supreme Court's Criminal Appeal Practice Direction 2013, federal government had only 10 days within which to file and serve him with its brief of arguments upon the service of record of appeal. He further argued that Order 2, Rule 21, subsection 1 and 2, and Order 6, Rule 9 of the Supreme Court Rules, as amended in 2014, empowered him to seeking the striking out of federal government's appeal for want of diligent prosecution. According to him, parties were served with the record of appeal since the 2nd November 2022. We have come to the end of the news. What's your take? Do share your comments in the comment section. Thank you.